Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. This is where accounting professionals just like you come to learn all the most efficient, powerful, abundant ways to grow their firm, sharpen their sales skills, and have consistent, increasing revenue year over year. I cover topics from pricing, sales, networking, objections, ideal clients, some marketing ideas, and really about how to increase your cash flow and profitability and set boundaries so you have the firm that you've always dreamt of. You're no longer giving away your time for free. You're no longer putting yourself on sale, and you are being paid for the value and worth that clients actually appreciate you for. So you'll learn tips and strategies as well as hear personal interviews from successful accounting professionals. This podcast will show you exactly how to create the firm of your dreams and the life full of abundance. Welcome back to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. I am so happy to be here with you again today. And today we have a very special guest. You probably even know our guest, but we'll get to him in just a second. I want to know, for those of you that kind of been waiting around for that right time, you know, where fear's kind of been holding you back to really create the firm and life of your dreams so you never have to dread another tax season. Like, what would you do if you finally feel in control of who you work with and never gave away any free advice ever again? And imagine if you had the confidence to ask for those higher fees and had a strategy to raise your rates to existing clients without them even batting an eye and got paid your worth. And you had a simple step-by-step process to easily enroll your clients and optimize what's possible for you and them. If you've tried other things in the past, you've tried other programs, you've read every book, and it hasn't worked, then I invite you to book a call with me and my team. If you're, tried waiting it out and you still aren't getting those right clients to pay you what you're worth, I would love to explore what you've tried, what hasn't worked, and what's possible for you and your firm, and we can go into depth on that. So you can book a call over at theabundantcall.com, and we'll dig deep and see where your accounting firm is at right now and where you want it to go. But don't take my word for it. You can hear, actually, Ross, we had a case study interview with him. He tripled his rates and increased his recurring revenue by $8,000 per month from where he was when we first chatted. And Marion and Jody, they did an extra $100,000 in revenue in their business in just an 8-week period. And they did $25,000 in December, which before they did $0. So if you would like to explore what's possible for you, head on over to theabundantcall.com. But today we have our special guest, Tom Gorczynski. He is an EA, a USTCP. He is a nationally known speaker and educator on federal tax law matters. He's an editor-in-chief of the EA Journal and co-author at Passkey Learning Systems, EA Review Series, and he is the co-owner of Compass Tax Educators. So he's done a lot. He's got a master's of science in taxation. He's a certified tax planner. He speaks all over the country, and he also has a very, very private inner circle now. So he'll be sharing that with us in a second. But today on the Abundant Accountant Podcast, we are going to be talking about, and a lot of you I've talked to, like, what is the outlook of accounting firms in a world of AI in the near future, and why having that niche client profile for your accounting firm is imperative as we move forward and navigate the changes with all these tax laws, so you don't lose, 400 to 500 clients in one night, but you get to choose to make those shifts. So now let's welcome Tom to the show. Welcome, Tom, to the show.
Thank you, Michelle, for having me. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. And I know everyone listening is going to be so excited to hear from you today. So before we start, for those that don't know you, can you please introduce yourself and share with them what it is that you do in 1 minute or less?
Sure. My name is Thomas Gorczynski. I'm an enrolled agent. The senior tax consultant of Gorczynski and Associates, a firm in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm also a tax educator and writer. I have my own newsletter, Tom Talks Taxes. I teach classes all around the country where I try and educate tax professionals not only about technical tax law, but to value the services they provide to their clients.
Awesome. And don't you have like a special inner circle too that you just randomly started recently?
Yeah, I do have a new program called the Inner Circle with Tom, actually.
Oh, got it. Okay. Can you share with the listeners what that's about? Because there might be some that, hey, could be interested.
Sure. It's where you get one-on-one mentorship with me on a weekly basis. And so we have weekly meetings where I answer all of your technical tax questions, practice management questions, show you how you can demonstrate your value to your clients in your work so that you can increase your fees.
Woohoo! But fantastic. So if you want to learn more, go to Tom's website, but that's a perfect segue into what we're talking about today. So today we're going to talk about the importance of, before you can really increase those fees, we have to have like niche client profiles. If you're an accountant or an accounting professional, I think that's really important. And I hone in on that a lot here, Tom, but I think it's also going to segue into, and what I want to talk about is the outlook for accounting firms in an AI world and what you see on the horizon and the importance of having that niche client profile in order to charge those higher fees and do some more of the complex work.
Absolutely, Michelle. I see niche work really in two areas. One, if you focus in on a specialty set of clients, and how you define that is really up to you. It could be broad, it could be rental owners, it could be narrow, those who own a specific franchise, right? Though they provide unique opportunities, not just for marketing, but also in that restricted client base, that specialized knowledge creates scarcity, which also impacts your value. If you really know an area of tax law because your clients mostly operate in it, and that's where you focus your education, and that's where you can show planning and value, you're going to be able to increase your fees. It'll also be easier to focus your tax education on the topics that particularly impact that niche.
Can you give us an example of a story that you've actually did yourself where, you went either narrow or broad and what that looked like, and then how you were able to really be able to sell your value at a higher fee because you got your specialized knowledge and you created that form of scarcity? Because I think when someone hears scarcity, I'm sure you all are listening, that's not a good word, Michelle. That's like the word sales. I hate sales. And, scarcity could also be a mindset, but it actually impacts the value and it increases it. Can you share something personal that you had and that you experienced in your firm when you made these shifts?
Well, going forward, I've actually decided for the tax preparation I'm going to do, and I actually don't do a lot of tax preparation, but the ones I do are going to be high value, and they are high value. I'm really only going to focus on business and rental owners because for a few reasons. One, they have ongoing tax, business, and financial needs for which I can charge a premium fee for those services. And two, that's the area of the tax law where I have a lot of familiarity, especially in the planning zone. So I know I can help those clients, especially when compared to the entire universe of taxpayers.
Yeah. And when you narrow that down, like where do you think your fees are going to go? Or, what you probably have already changed your fees and what you're charging, but how much of an increase did you see when you focus just on businesses and, rental owners just on the compliance stuff?
And that's a really narrow niche, of course. You can specialize even further. You could do people in certain industries. You could focus on farmers, for example, on commercial rental properties, on franchises. There are so many different niches out there that one can focus on. It's really incredible. And if you tie it to an interest that you have, then it combines both knowledge and passion into your work, which means you'll actually be able to do both really effectively.
Yeah, that's always good. Knowledge and passion is a great combo. So when you made this decision, how do you see this and talking about, just your vision of what you see happening in the industry with accounting firms, and small firms, big firms, everything in the world of AI and what you see coming?
So, for many tax professionals, their bread and butter tax client is a straightforward tax return. And what I mean by straightforward is, sure, they may itemize deductions, they may have investments, but they're, from a tax law, from a complexity standpoint, relatively basic. Yeah. As the industry evolves, those individuals who have those types of returns are going to be able to get more automated processes to complete their returns. First, we already have commercially available software, right, that can do a lot of those returns correctly. Mm-hmm. We have AI. Who knows where that's going to go in the industry? We have retail tax preparation stores where many of those returns can already be prepared on a walk-in basis for a fee in a very short amount of time. So for the tax advisor who is looking to build a stable base of clients, I don't see that market being the foundation of a stable base of clients. I just don't. Because for all of those reasons, I think a lot of them are going to self-select out of the tax preparation world. They're going to go into self-preparation. There's also a push by some policymakers in Congress for the IRS to actually prepare tax returns for taxpayers, send them to the taxpayers, and have the taxpayers say, oh, this looks good, and sign it. If something like that ever came to pass, all of those simple tax returns could easily go away from a practitioner's client base. Mm-hmm. So really the future of accounting and the future of the tax industry are on clients with complex issues who need specialized advice, tax planning, financial planning, and those types of related services.
Yeah, I agree, because yesterday I actually had a call. I've had two now this week, Tom. The gentleman yesterday had 800 individual client returns, and maybe only 100 of them, he was saying, could be these complex ones. So he wants to also get rid of the clients that no longer serve him and all that. So basically, he's going to lose 600 clients, or at the end of the day, and he's worried about the robots or AI or anything like that taking away that business. And if that's the bread and butter, it's time to make a change. That's kind of what it sounds like, working on the complex issues, having specialized advice, which requires specialized knowledge in some sort of, specialized niche, like you said.
The time is now, Michelle, I think. And I think it's ideal with all of the tax law changes that have happened, and with all of the tax law changes to come over the next couple of years. I think if you think there's been a lot of changes in the past 3 or 4 years, just wait from now through 2025. We're going to have a ton more. So it is going to be so difficult to run a volume practice. So if you are in a volume practice, let's combine that whole idea of those simple returns are going to go away eventually with the niche idea to see what you can do, right, in the real world to make this happen. First, identify the niche you want to go into, right? Mm-hmm. Keep the clients in that niche and offer them higher end value services and increase those fees based on that. For your client base that doesn't meet your needs anymore, sell them off. There are other tax firms who will gladly take those types of returns, and you can at least make some kind of cash on letting those clients leave your practice. Then whoever is left, you can focus on them, showing them the value, adding services, bringing in new clients to your practice who want value-based high-end advisory services. And then you can build a new client base on that new model.
And it's a transition. And I think, for a lot of people, it's terrifying to say, okay, I'm just going to sell this piece off for just some cash. And, I'm so busy. That's what I hear a lot of times. Michelle, I'm so busy. How do you want me to learn how to have I've got a new name for it. Doesn't have the word sales in it, by the way, Tom. It's called the client optimizing system. How do you optimize the value from every client? Like, not even talk about get new ones, just the ones you have that you actually like, but you've never gone deep with them. You've never actually done some preventative looking ahead stuff because you're just on a hamster wheel and you can't get off of it. So let's talk about your first step that you recommend, Tom, which is identify the niche. How did you pick, business owners and say, that's all I want to work with? What process did you use? Like the simplest thing someone can do just right now.
Well, the easiest thing is to look at your current client base, right? And see, are there any groups of clients you already have that you're providing services to that could form a potential niche? And then think about, I'm sure there's going to be more than one. Is there any particular niche that either A, you have a great deal of knowledge in that you can leverage, or B, is there a niche you are passionate about? Now, if you have both A and B, it's a win-win situation. If you don't have both, then you got to look to see, do I want to go with the niche I'm passionate about and make an intentional effort to gain the knowledge and experience I need to be able to sell high-value services?
Yep.
Or do I go with the one that I know a ton about and just simply find really good clients that I can be passionate about?
Yeah.
Because I really feel you do need both to have a boutique practice focused on a small number of niche clients.
Yep. And I second that. So step number 2, we're going to keep the good ones that we like, and now we're going to offer them higher value services. We're going to maybe increase the amount of work we're doing for them, or, I'm sure a lot of you are probably doing a lot of work for free right now, like answering their emails and questions. But, I think that's the terrifying thing for everyone listening. Like, I can't charge more and do more for my clients, Michelle. Like, they're going to leave me. What have you seen when you say, okay, I'm going to get rid of these, third step is the clients that you don't like or don't meet your needs anymore, sell them off for some cash. So that's a short-term gain, but also frees up a ton of time. But what about, thinking about that step number 2 for someone that was in your shoes, Tom, 10, however many years ago, I'm going to guess 10, that is thinking, okay, I want to keep the good ones. I want to do more for them, but I've only been charging them, $500 a year. They probably think I should do all these services for free, and it's quote unquote included. Like you're an all-inclusive resort, where you get the food, the booze, and everything. And, you've been like it's almost like a public library. You go in, your clients come in, they ask you questions, you respond to their emails, they leave. They checked you out. They checked your knowledge and your inventory out for free. And then that's it. It's like you're just the public library. You got a bunch of books and they're all $0. How did you make that shift? Because I think the step number 2 is probably the most daunting and overwhelming and terrifying one because we think people are just going to leave us.
I think there's a couple strategies. One, if it's simple return preparation that's being done, that is just compliance work. It is not advisory. It is not planning. And so I think you can approach the conversation by saying, hey, for a couple of years we've been doing your tax returns, but I really think there are some great advanced tax planning opportunities for you. Now, this is a different service than we've been providing in the past. In the past, we've simply been taking your books, making sure they're reconciled, putting that information on the return, doing some adjustments. What I'm talking about is a different service where we proactively work to lower your tax liabilities over the long term. And then try to show the value of that with some ideas that you have, but not necessarily telling them the ideas, but give them a hint as to the value, and then compare your price to that value. And then they'll see, yes, this is a new service, and it's more than I've ever paid, but I see why I want to do it. Because the amount of value I'm receiving for these more advanced services outweighs the potential increased cost. Now, what if you are not ready to go that far with a client that you want to keep? All of the things that you've always done for free can be bundled into service packages, and then you show the client all of the things that are now included at this increased price. So you can show the client, hey, these are our package offerings for mere tax return preparation. Here are the options if you want questions after the season. Do you want me to answer IRS notices automatically? And the more add-on value-based services in each package, the higher price you can charge. But the key is the client sees everything that's included with the enhanced price. Why? So they can see the value of the services they're receiving in exchange for the fee. Most people just simply say, okay, X dollars for tax return, that's it. They don't ever say what else is happening along with that. But all those collateral things that are being done for free, by showing them to the client, demonstrating they're there, telling the client that they're available, you automatically have increased the value in the eyes of the client, which means you can increase the fee you charge to that client. Yeah. So really there's a couple of ways you can approach it depending on what direction you're taking your business in.
Yeah, and I think those are some great options to test out. But I pulled up the definition of value just so everyone can understand, because I think sometimes we forget. But the value is the monetary worth of something. It's a fair return or equivalent in goods, services, or money for something exchanged. Relative worth, utility, and importance. A good value at the price. The value of base stealing in baseball. And I think the biggest thing there is that it's a monetary exchange. So if we keep providing value for $0, then that's not an exchange. That's a one-way street.
I find most accountants have a lot of challenge quantifying and explaining their value.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's simply, here's the fee, here's the return, or here's the fee, here's the service. But the client doesn't understand what they're truly getting in return for that fee or return, fee, or service. So in that case, it's hard to increase your fees if they're just simply seeing it as return preparation, which is something they don't want to do anyway, right? Nobody loves having their taxes done. I mean, maybe a few people do. I don't know.
I don't think so. I am your ideal client, and it makes me go cringe. It makes me want to roll up in a ball and hide under my covers. It has me go absolutely bananas, almost like if you plugged me into the wall in an electric socket, my hair would stick up. That's what doing taxes is for the regular person who's not an accountant. Just saying, everybody.
And so if you turn this unpleasant task
Exactly.
into something where the client sees they're getting financial value back from that task, right?
Yep.
Your ability to increase your prices goes up.
1000% accurate. That is a great way to put it. How do we turn a horrific experience for most human beings on the planet? There might be 1% that enjoy doing it, but filling out that stupid tax thingy thing that you all need, it drives us nuts. We don't like it. We think it's dumb. All of those thoughts that you think about, oh, well, I'm just going to not raise my prices because I don't want to, I lose a client. Like, we think about those things when we've come to filling out these tax massive organizers. And how do you change that unpleasant tax into something that they financially have a gain or a win is genius, Tom. Genius. It is very unpleasant.
Absolutely. And I think that that's, part of the industry model right now is the fact that most tax professionals have hundreds of clients adds to the unpleasantness. They are simply one of hundreds of people in a queue to the average tax pro. But if you drop that model and go to a limited size practice, not only do you help eliminate the unpleasantness of just being kind of one in a crowd, but that individualized attention alone is worth increased prices for many taxpayers.
Yeah. It's why, I could go to a big gym. So for all of you that follow me on social media, you all know, I like to work out. I don't go to a big gym, right? That would be like the place with thousands of clients and it's an unpleasant experience. I go to a boutique gym and it's got 4 ladies in a group and we have one trainer and, we are told what to do and it is a very pleasant experience. And I think if you look at where you go in your own life, be it to different, just think about anywhere you go or the services that you pay for. Do you want pleasant or unpleasant? And then notice the difference of the unpleasant experiences. And I think correlating it to something in your own personal life will help visually see this in a different light. So thank you, Tom, for sharing that.
Absolutely. I think if we just look at our own consumer preferences,
exactly, yeah,
and then apply them to our client base, we'll see that the traditional accounting model is never what we would want to be in the first place anyway. So why do we subject our clients to it?
Well, it's like, how did we end up in this boat? I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, like, how did this happen to me? I knew I didn't want this when I started my firm. Why did I end up this way? But the beauty of it is that you have a choice and you can either continue doing what you're doing today, or you can take some of the ideas that we've talked about today with Tom and make a shift because you have the power and you have the control and you get to create whatever firm you like. And, with the AI features coming out in the world, and like you said, Tom, the changes between now and 2025 on the tax law, the outlook for accounting firms is going to shift. And and like you said, the time is now. So yeah, thank you, Tom, so much for sharing. Is there anything else that you wanted to share today with the listeners that could support them in this area in making these shifts right now instead of waiting for the AI to show up and then they lose 400 to 500 clients?
If you're saying to yourself, I just don't have the time because I'm too busy, realize that you have just admitted to yourself that you have a problem. Because if in your business you have no time to devote to managing or growing or developing your business, full stop. You need an immediate change in mindset and approach to your business.
Yeah. love it. Well, Tom, thank you for being here. Tom,
Thank you, Michelle.
Tom is a resource. If you want to apply to be in his inner circle, feel free to go to his website. Where can they go again? What's the website?
www.gorczynski.tax. GORCZYNSKI.
And the one for the inner circle to apply?
It's www.innercirclewithtom.com.
Perfect. So head on over to innercirclewithtom.com. That even rhymes. I love it. And, you can join. It's a very small group of people, but this will help you get out of the, mindset of what happens when the AI shows up. Well, you won't really need to care about that. You will have your boutique firm and practice ready to go. So thanks, Tom, for being here with us today on the Abundant Accountant podcast. It was an honor to have you and great discussion. And, I love how we're going to take all of these unpleasant experiences that people like me have to go through and change them into pleasant experiences that put more money in your pockets.
Thank you, Michelle. It was great being here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you all so much for being here with Tom and I today. So much goodness. I always love talking to Tom, and I know a lot of you like listening to him. So this is something that you can implement right away. I wouldn't wait. I always say, we can prevent a lot of things from happening in our life. For example, I go to the gym a lot, like I was talking about earlier, and I do that to prevent a lot of health problems that we might have. And I truly believe in having a full tank. And a full tank meaning we take care of ourselves. We have enough sleep every day, and we can show up to be our best in our firm. Because if you're not, we can't be, we're almost, it's like we're an Olympian athlete to our clients and to our firm. And anyone who's in the Olympics is not, burning what do they call it? Burning the midnight oil or burning the candle at both ends, working 14, 18-hour days. Well, they might train a lot, but they're getting recovery. They're getting massage. They're getting acupuncture. They're taking care of their body and their machine. And we need to too. Okay, so I've gone on a little rant. However, it's so important because this is how you can make the shifts in having the specialized knowledge and having that stable base of clients who are paying you every single penny you're worth. No more being the public library. Like I was sharing earlier, we don't want people to just check out our knowledge and check out our inventory for free. That is the complimentary service provided by your counties, and that is not us. We are a boutique practice, and identifying your niche, keeping the good clients, and increasing the value you bring to them is what's going to get you there. And that simple 1040 work, you know what? Like Tom was saying, and like I explained to you, that is an unpleasant tax that us taxpayers have to do on the regular every single year. So how can you increase your fees and the experience that people like me have to go through to not only help make something unpleasant be financially rewarding possibly, but make it so that we never have to dread doing our taxes? Whoever can figure that out is going to be a genius. And if you don't really have that confidence to ask for higher fees, or you wished you had a strategy to raise your rates for your existing clients, and you wished you had a step-by-step process to optimize your current client base and have a system and method for that, and also exactly know who is willing to pay your fees and who isn't using a proven system, then head on over to theabundantcall.com and you can book a call with me or one of my teammates so you can be like Ross, like Marion, or even Kate. She worked with us and she did about $8,000 in revenue in just the first week together. That was insane. I was so proud of her. And, I'd love to explore what that could look like for you too, because, sometimes it's not your fault where you're at and everything can change. And the time is now. Like Tom was sharing, the time is now. You can make the shift and you can really take over the world and make yourself a boutique firm where you're only working maybe 6 to 8 hours a day. No more 14 to 18-hour days. So once again, let's explore what those possibilities look like. We can discover that on a chat. You can book a 1-hour call. It is complimentary. The only thing I ask is that you've been in business at least 2 years. You've had a bunch of clients not pay you enough, and you want to increase your fees. You want to increase your revenue, and you want to get rid of all those pitta clients. So if that's you, head on over to theabundantcall.com, and I look forward to talking to a couple of you. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next episode.